Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorta.
Our guest today is a 5-time world champion. There's now a movie playing in theaters based on his life called Bleed for This. I saw it the other night, and I'll tell you what, it's amazing. You got to check it out if you haven't seen it. It's my honor to welcome the Pazmanian Devil, Vinny Paz, to the show. Vinny, welcome to Ringside Reporter.
That was a good introduction.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Absolutely. Hey, it's an honor, man. It's an honor. You're a legend.
Eric, we've never met, but obviously you've definitely got the voice for radio.
Well, I appreciate that. I got the face for radio, too, so there you go.
I didn't want to go there.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. So the very first question I want to ask you, man, is how crazy was it to see your life on screen like that? When you sat down in that theater and you looked at the screen, you got Miles Teller playing you got somebody playing your mom and your girlfriend and your father. How nutty is that to sit there? What goes through your mind?
Yeah, it's wild, and I broke down in tears a couple times, because I missed my parents. I wish they could have been here to see it. Yeah. I got lucky to have great parents, and it's wild. It's like everybody says to me, God, Vinny, they come up to me literally. Almost everybody comes up to me and says, Vinny, it must be so crazy and weird to see your life on the screen like that, right? And I'm like, yep, exactly. Just what you said. Yeah, that's how I feel.
That's insane, man. Yeah, I mean, and how true was the movie? I mean, as far as like how accurate was it? So, I mean, obviously they take certain liberties and stuff like that, and try to make it, Hollywood. But I mean, for the most part, that was it, right? That was on target.
Yeah, it was on point. Just about everything. Like the only thing that I wish would have changed a little bit, and they would have showed like a stronger bond. But the only thing, my father was in my corner for every fight. He would have never missed one. You'd have had to knife him like maybe about 700 times for him not to be at one of my fights. That's it. That's the only thing that was exaggerated at all.
Wow.
The whole movie was spot on. From the screws coming out of my skull to, like there could have been a couple of more big boobs in the movie, but everything was right on spot.
So, all right, so even like the Halo thing, when they put that halo on you, and there was that part in the movie, I think if you watch the movie, you'll never forget that part. If there's nothing else you take away that part of the movie, when you had that halo on, and then you're getting the halo taken off for the first time, and it just looked excruciating. And you refused like any sedatives or anything, any painkillers, anything.
Stupid. That's called stupidity. That's called stupidity. For sure. Gosh. But when you young, dumb, full of cum, you do some wild stuff. I didn't want to do any drugs, so I just made him take them out. And after the first one came out, I knew, all right, this is it. So this is what it's gonna feel like. So I just gritted it, and before you know it, the fall off me, and thank God. That was such a crazy period in my life. It's so nuts walking around, living with 4 screws in your skull. Nuts.
It's just mind blowing. I mean, you would know more about this than I do. Do they still do that today? I mean, are there still people that do the halos today, or is it advanced?
You know what? Amazingly enough, I'm very good friends with a nurse, and they still do the same thing with the halo. I'm surprised myself.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it seems like such like old medicine, I guess. I mean, you'd think that after all this time.
It looks archaic. I'll never forget the next day when I woke up with it and I went in the mirror. I went, come on, man, really? Like, really, this is what you're going to do to me? We're almost in the year 2000, and we've got screws in my effing skull.
Right.
Oh, my God. I couldn't believe it.
You know, and I tell you, it's funny because you watch the movie, and I think that the movie did such a good job with the little things. Because everybody, you know, when you got in the accident back in the day, and we saw pictures of it, we saw pictures of you with the halo and everything in the newspaper, but we really kind of took for granted, like, the everyday little things, you know, like looking down to tie your shoe or eating.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or getting out of the car, even just getting out of the car, you know. And it was just like, wow. I mean, you know, the one thing that got me is when you're at the table and you're eating. And you have to eat like at a square, you know, so you have to pick the fork up and bring it to your mouth rather than look down. And
so right, so right. The little you wouldn't even, I'm surprised you even said that because people just look right over that. And it was the weirdest months of my life. It really was craziest.
You know what I found really fascinating about all this, about the whole thing, and I was looking back and correct me if I'm wrong here. You were out maybe 14 months, maybe? Was it 14? How long were you actually out with this?
Around a year, a little over a year.
Yeah, it wasn't long. I mean,
not too long.
I mean, no. What was it, 92 and you fought in 93 or 91 and you fought in 92? It was something like that. But, I mean, I remember looking at it and it was like a calendar year had passed. You know, you didn't miss like an entire year. Like, you fought every year.
I literally know friends that went on drug binges for longer than that. I swear, I kid you not. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And I only said that because I was just on the phone with a friend of mine, and we were talking about this old kid, an old friend of mine who had passed away. We just brought him up out of the clear blue, so it was on my mind. My bad. Go ahead, Eric.
No, it's
move on.
Hey, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about here for sure, man. So let me ask you another thing, and this is one thing that maybe I just didn't understand or I didn't get. Now, they said that they could do a surgery on you to fuse your vertebrae or whatever together, but they said you would not fight again.
I wasn't able to fight if they did that type of surgery on me, but I would definitely be able to walk.
Right. Now, now the other way. With the halo, did they come out and say you may be able to fight again?
Yes and no, but, you know, I took it that way and, you know, got lucky and worked hard.
Because I couldn't imagine, because that was my thing, is that, like, when I'm watching this and I'm thinking, you know, when they offer you the fusion or whatever, you say, well, you can walk again, but you'll never fight again. I can't imagine that the doctor said to you, well, but if you go the halo route, you may be able to walk again. You may be able to fight again, but maybe not. I can't imagine he said that to you. Maybe that's just is that what you inferred from them, or?
Yeah, he kind of said, you know, Vinny, you know, that's not the procedure that we would really like to do to you. You know, we're like, I'm as the doctor in this hospital are advising you to go the other way because you'll be fine. You just won't be able to fight. And I'm like, Doc, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no two ways about it. I want to fight again, so just put the effing halo on me, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But what was crazy is like when you had the halo on and everything, it was weird because, you know, it was almost like there, you know, I guess the doubt was I guess if you take shots to the head or, I mean, the pressure on your neck from fighting and everything, because you were walking okay. I mean, it seemed like all the time, I mean, from the get-go, you were walking fine. Yes.
Wow. But the only concern was if it was an eighth of an inch over, an eighth of an inch more on the what's that called? Not the vertebrae, the spinal cord. If it was, I was just an eighth away from that, and if I had touched that, of course, I would have had some form of paralysis. So that was, the thing that they were trying to not make happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, the driver of the car. Now, was this? This again, where I couldn't remember from the movie. Maybe I missed it. Was this a friend of yours, or was he was a family member or a friend of yours? Or
yeah, just a friend, just a buddy who used to literally used to go to the gym with me. The kid, all the time, and that was it. He was fine.
Okay, so and do you still talk to him today, or
Yeah, once in a while I see him every now and then.
Okay, all right.
He went his way, I went mine.
Sure, absolutely.
No hard feelings at all. It was just an accident.
That's a tough thing. Yeah, that's got to be a tough thing to deal with on both sides, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't. He didn't with no blame for it. And you want to know? To be honest with you, like driving down the street, I said to myself, he's going a little fast, man. Maybe I should say something, because speed kills.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot of times now when people are driving me and somebody hits the gas a little too much. I don't like it. If I was driving the car, it'd be a different story.
Right.
But when you're a passenger, you always seem they're going faster than they think they are when they're driving.
Right.
I say that quite a bit because of what happened to me, but not even because of that. He was just going a little too fast, and what happened was he got cut off on the road. He got cut off and he jammed on the brakes. In real life, this is what happened.
Yeah.
He jammed brakes and we started sliding down on the other side of the road. It was like a 4-lane street. In a very busy street, and 2 lanes were coming, 2 lanes going. We were on the going side, and he started sliding over into the coming side. And, we just got hit by a big town car.
Oh,
I held on to the door handle, Eric, and my last thoughts, if I died after that, my last thought was, I'm never going to defend my world title. Oh, my God. Boom, we got nailed.
Wow, that was your last thought.
And that was my last thought. I'm never going to defend my world title. Because I was so, psyched up. I just won the biggest championship of the world. I just won the WBA championship of the world. I was in heaven. I didn't think it could get better, any better. Kevin, I moved up 2 weight classes like you see in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody expected that from me. So, it was really... It was a crazy event, the timing of the things that happened, really wild.
Yeah, it's a tough guy you fought, too. It wasn't like he was a walkover by any stretch, man. I mean, DeLay's a tough guy, man.
Yeah, he was a badass. He was undefeated in 30 fights.
So, and prior to that fight, I mean, I know in the movie, and like I said, but, and I've read things about it, in the past and stuff, but I want to get your impressions on what was your relationship with the Duvas like? And I know Lou Duva trained you, and he kind of, he said you were done or whatever, but, Dan Duva was still your promoter and stuff, but how was the relationship there?
It was no big deal. I signed with them at first because my father was all gung-ho. They were Italian, which didn't make a difference in the world to me. The old school, people are a little more, with their heritage than they are today. You know what I mean, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I went with them. And, I thought it was so cool because, they had Pernell Whitaker, they had Evander Holyfield, they had Johnny Bumpus at the time, and they seemed like they were really good. And then you come to find out they just, it's so crazy, the boxing world. It's, I love the boxing event, two fighters getting in the ring and going at it, I love it. But all the politics behind it, the management, the promotions, it's just not that cool. for some reason, I don't know why. It's because it's never been like a Major League Baseball team, like an NFL team.
Right.
It's cowboys that are, doing the thing, trying to make money and, screwing a lot of fighters over in the meantime.
Wow. That's what it seemed like. I mean, that's honestly what it seemed like, because it looked like to me like they were, and promoters maybe in general are real nice to you when they need you. And just like, and again, I don't know how true to life, the movie was in this incident, because some things are, kind of taken out and stuff like that. But when you were injured and they wanted you to drop the belt, I mean, that had to be difficult. That's not an easy thing to do.
It really happened.
Wait to get stripped.
I hated it.
Yeah, I mean, wait to get stripped or just drop it. That sucks.
Absolutely, yeah. I felt like the luckiest, happiest guy in the world, and then they told me, you're gonna have to give your belt up because there's no way you're gonna be able to defend it. So that was it. I gave it up.
Wow.
And but the thing with me wasn't like I'm a different breed from most people. I got off on like winning the belts. I didn't get a big thrill out of defending the title. I wanted to just win belts. So I won 5. I'm very happy with that. I could have won, maybe 8 and not 9, but I'm happy with 5.
Yeah, I would say so. I think most people would be happy with just 1, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a brat.
No, not at all.
I'm very happy with 1. Believe me, but it was cool. I just wanted to win titles. I didn't want to defend them. I didn't defend one of my world titles at all. I just wanted to fight for them.
Wow. So let me
crazy.
ask you, and we had talked last night, and you had talked about some of the people on the set and everything, and we talked about the Dan Duva on screen and how he looks dead on Dan Duva. I mean, I was like a spitting image of Dan Duva. Who was the coolest person that you met on screen? Who was the coolest guy that, like, when you talk to, because I know you talk to everybody, but
the coolest guy I met was Aaron Eckhart.
Really? Okay.
Really nice, really, really nice. And I don't know, I'm sure, Aaron's a good looking guy,
Yeah.
Right, so when I see him, he's all roonied out. He gained 60 pounds.
He's
had his
roonied
shape in front of his head. So I see him at one of the first time I saw him at the filming here in Rhode Island. He comes up to me, says, "Vinny Paz," and I look. I said, "Yo, Aaron." I said, "Oh my God, Aaron, it's great to meet you, man. Oh, I'm so glad you're playing Kevin. I loved Kevin. He's my man." He says, "Yeah, Vinny, I'm so excited. I was a big fan. I watched a lot of your fights. That's so cool. It's so cool." And then I grab his hand and I pull him into my face and I go, "Aaron, not for nothing, you look like shit." He goes, "Vinny, I know. I can't wait to get this effing movie over with." He gained 65 pounds. He had to shave his head bald. Really, really funny.
That's great. You know what was funny? All right, so I saw the Bleed for the movie the other day, and so you see Aaron Eckhart, and as you turned him, he's all roonied out. That's beautiful. But then I watched last night. I was watching that movie Sully, where he's like the Aaron Eckhart's in it, and he's like the co-pilot or whatever.
I did not see that. I want to see it.
And I meant, it's like I watched him and looking like Kevin Rooney, and then I watched him here, and he's like slim, he's like all trimmed up, he's all like, he looks like a military guy, and I'm like, man.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's a completely different
He's a great
guy,
actor.
Man. Yeah.
Great actor. Like, if you would ever been around Kevin Rooney, he mimicked him. He did the greatest job. Him and Miles, should really win awards. It's amazing what they've done. Amazing.
Yeah, from all the clips and everything that I saw of Kevin Rooney, I mean, like his mannerisms and his actions, I mean, he's got it down. He really does. Yeah. He's got it down cold, man. Everybody in the movie did just a fantastic job. I mean, from Aaron Eckhart, and then you have Miles Teller, who played you. He did a great job. The guy who played Lou Duva, the guy who played Dan Duva, who looked dead on him, man. I mean, wait till you see him. If you
look at
gosh, yeah. I mean, it could have been like his twin. That's But yeah, man, everybody did such a fantastic job in there, man. So when you came back, it's not like, so you went through this accident, you come back, and they showed they showed a comeback, and it was a little bit out of order, obviously, for movie reasons and everything. But when you came back, your first fight back was against a guy named Luis Santana.
Yes.
And
yes,
that was,
yeah.
that's not a cupcake right there, man. They didn't put you in, they didn't do you any favors there. That's a good fighter.
He was a tough kid. Yeah, I didn't want some bum. I didn't want that. I told him, I said, I want to fight somebody that is very good, not just okay, very good. I want to fight. And yeah, I fought him in my first fight back, and I dropped him a couple of times. I was so trying to stop him. Tough kid, though, Luis Santana. He's a real nice guy. Good guy, great fighter. He beat some badass dudes.
Absolutely, man. And all right, so from Luis Santana, and let me ask you this, because I've always wanted to ask you, because I always thought it was BS. I'm not real big on copy box, and you probably know where I'm going with this. The Roy Jones fight in the 4th round, and yep. I'm going to ask you point blank: did you land a shot?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But that was one of the. I only had 5, and you got to remember, I've boxed over 100 amateur fights, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of rounds of boxing. I've fought 60 professional fights. I've only had 5 bad pro fights in my life. 5 bad nights. They were bad nights.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. And that was one of them. I can name them to you right off the top of my head. I remember them, like, vividly. Roger Mayweather was one. Loretto Garza was one. Haugen 2 was one. Aaron Davis was the other, and Roy Jones was the 5th. And it's solely because great fighters. They were all world champions.
Yeah.
And they had their best night. I had my worst night. On all 5 of those fights, I had either had making weight problems against Roy Jones that would have never went down like that because I was feeling real good, but they screwed me on the time. Like, a lot for me, made a big difference for me, because I used to love coffee before the fight. I would take an ephedrine pill, get you going, make you a little more alert. They told me I was going to fight around 9:30, 10 o'clock, the latest. So I'm in the back and I'm jacked up, ready to go at around 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm, thinking that I'm probably going to fight at 9:30. And, this is not an excuse against Roy Jones. Was the baddest MF in the world.
Yeah.
He wanted to win the heavyweight championship of the world, but there's a reason why things happen. There's always a reason. I would have never got stopped. I would have fought him for 15 rounds. But I just felt like shit. So 9:30 comes and, no fight. 10 o'clock comes, no fight. 10:30 comes, no fight. 11 o'clock comes, I'm going, come on, man, what the fuck, really? You guys are going to do this to me? Really? Still not yet? 11:30 comes, 12:11. I'll never forget, I was watching, I was eyeing the clock, like crazy. 12:10, they came in the back to get me, and I walked out to the fight. I was dead. I pissed out all my electrolytes, all the potassium in my body. It makes such a big difference in your life. It makes such a big difference. And the people who are athletes and drink a little bit of coffee, they'll know what I'm talking about. Mm. Average person, may think I'm just talking shit, but I couldn't have been. I could have got lucky and knocked him out. That was my only hope against Roy Jones. I didn't think I could outbox him. You know, no one could at that time. He was amazing. But I would have never got stopped. And then that's my thing. That no one ever kept me down. And he still didn't keep me down. I was still fighting to get up when the ref stopped the fight.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. You know, I feel very lucky, Eric. I've never got knocked out. No one ever knocked me out. You know, I mean, like a lot of fighters got stretched. It never happened to me, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy about it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a difference between, you know, being stopped and being KO'd.
Absolutely. Look, do you remember Roberto Duran? Nobody was greater than the great Roberto Duran. He was amazing. Probably the best lightweight of all time.
Yeah.
I think the guy was amazing. He was unbelievable. One of the reasons why I loved Ali and I loved Duran when I started boxing. But I'll never forget, and a lot of people, it's weird how people remember just when you get stretched. I just remember seeing him stretched out when he fought Tommy Hearns.
Wow.
So, and how many people remember that? They remember that, or they remember him by no mas. Here's a guy who had almost 200 victories. Was the greatest lightweight in the history of the world.
And that's what they take away from it, you know.
People remember him by the no mas. Everyone's Roberto No Mas Duran. No mas, or him being stretched out by Tommy Hearns.
Right.
That's sad. That's sad. But that's just how it goes.
And nobody remembers him a lightweight. Nobody does. I mean, when you talk about his career and stuff like that, those are the things you bring up. But nobody ever remembers that lightweight run, I mean, where he was the best in the world. And then he went up to welterweight and beat the best, you know, beat the guy who everybody says was the best in the world at the time, Sugar Ray, you know.
Eric, listen to this. Nuts when I tell you. I love this guy. I thought he was a badass. He was the first guy ever to go from lightweight to junior middleweight and win world title fights. I was at the damn fight. Wow. I was in the third row when he knocked out Davey Moore. Uh-huh. It was awesome for me because I was turning pro. I was an amateur at the time. The Duvas took me to the fight, and when I tell you I was in awe, like my jaw was open the whole fight. I was like, this guy's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. His defense was amazing. He had people think like you only fight till you're getting your 40 years old because your defense was tremendous. That's the only way you can keep fighting. Or guys are done when they're in their late 20s. When you keep fighting like I did, I had good defense because my genetics, but because of Duran, I tried to fight like him a lot. If you go back and look, that dude was slick as ice. Duran was slick as ice. Didn't very really got hit when he wanted to. When he stepped in there, wanted to step it up a little bit. He could take a punch like crazy. See, against Tommy Hearns, see what people don't know. When he fought Tommy Hearns, he blew up to 250 pounds. He had to all the way down to 154 to fight Tommy Hearns. When you lose that so much, you dehydrate yourself so much, you get knocked out much easier. You know, it's a fact. Your brain has no fluid around in the skull. The skull hits the brain. It's a weird dynamic, but it's very true, which is why I'm so glad. You know, that's never happened to me. But yeah, that's what happened to him. He didn't care. After fights, he would blow up like a balloon and then come back and try to fight again, try to win. But yeah, I was at that fight. It was amazing for me, and I was in such awe of this guy. Go figure. Who would ever think in a million years I'm sitting in the third row, an 18-year-old, 20-year-old kid, and I'm watching this, and I'm going to be the next guy who does that feat. I'm going to be the next guy who goes from lightweight world champion to go to junior middleweight. I'm the next guy. How crazy is that?
That's insane, man. That is really insane.
Yeah,
I mean, just
crazy.
to be at that fight and watch it happen and then make it happen. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. That's a big deal, man.
Big deal.
That's following a dream right there. That's following a dream. Let me ask you just a couple more questions here. Was there bad blood between you and Dana Rosenblatt?
Yeah, of course. I hated him. You know, he's fucking talking all kind of shit about me, and
was that what it was? He was just a loudmouth. I mean,
yeah, he was like talking down on me. You know, like he's a genius and whatever. I'm the fucking wild guy. I wanted to bust his head, and I did. And
yeah,
serves him right. Serves him right.
That's it, because everybody, you'd hear rumblings about that, that there was a lot of bad blood between you guys, and I just never really knew, if it was like real hype. I didn't know if it was like hype or if it was like legit. So yeah.
I fought him to do him a favor, to get in. Honest to God, I thought he was a local kid, so I think, I'll let him make some money.
Yeah.
And, I'll beat his ass, and he can move on. Then he starts talking because it was right after the Roy Jones fight. So after the fight, when I fought Roy Jones, everybody called me out. I'm not out. I'm not done. By far, I'm not done. I just had a bad night. So I fought. That kid was undefeated in almost 30 fights. He was 29-0. So I took him on, and I said, "Hey, kid, I'll show you people how that Jones fight wasn't like what my life is all about, and I'm going to prove it to you by fighting some young, undefeated kid from Boston, Massachusetts, who's 29-0, talking shit about me eventually, and you guys see what happens, and watch how done I am." That's how I look at that fight.
Well, I love how they count you out after the Roy Jones fight. Like Roy Jones was just some bum, like Roy Jones was nothing, Yeah.
He went on a couple of fights after that to win the heavyweight championship of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you could possibly. I mean, he might be the greatest pound-for-pound fighter ever. I mean, he might be. I mean, going from middleweight to heavyweight. I mean, what can you say?
Let me tell you. Let me give you my point of view on that. Greatest talent, unbelievable effing talent he had. The difference is his talent was right up there with the tops, but the difference with him was his reign, his longevity was so short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Small. You talk about the greatest fighter in the world right away. I'm thinking Sugar Ray Robinson, by 1,000%. Sugar Ray Robinson went to 100, and he was undefeated after 100 pro fights.
Right. Think about that.
That's remarkable. That's longevity. That's see, Roy Jones was a passing frame. He was hot, but for a short period of time, he was great, very great. But when that fight happened, I was like, oh man, here we go, got to come back again. It looks like I'm always on a comeback trail for something, breaking my neck, losing fights, always coming back with something.
I love how you said it so casual, breaking my neck, losing fights, like what?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah.
Do you keep up with the sport today?
Right, man.
Do you keep up with the sport today?
No, not really.
Okay.
To be honest with you, Eric, you work in the donut factory your whole life, you get sick of the donuts.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, I got the greatest PR girl. She runs my VinnyPaz.com.
She's awesome.
I'm on Twitter because of her. She's the best. I always give Zena a shout out. She's number one. I got lucky to meet her, and literally, I met her because there's a boxer that I hang with once in a while. I love him, Larry Holmes. His name is Larry Holmes.
Oh, yeah, the Eastern Assassin, man. Yeah.
One of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He held the title longer than anybody, 8 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So I would joke around with him. I say, most of my fights, my world title belts, I kept them for about 8 hours at least. He gets a big kick out of me. So anyways, Zena, my girl, her real name is Paula, but she is Zena because she really is a Zena. She's a warrior princess. But her dad had two favorite fighters, and she used to watch. He used to make her watch Vinny Paz and Larry Holmes. How crazy is that? He's one of my buddies today.
That's awesome, man. That is very, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll plug it for you then. I'll plug some stuff for you, too. Check out Vinny Paz on Twitter at 5xpaz. Also, check out his website at vinnypaz.com. And if you haven't seen the movie Bleed for This, I don't know what you're sitting there waiting for. Pause the interview, go see it, come back and check play on the interview and finish the rest of it out, all right? That's what you need to do because it's an amazing, amazing movie, amazing story. Vinny, I mean, it's been just such an honor to have you on here, man, taking your time like this. We appreciate it. Don't forget to check out our live show on Sunday at 7 p.m. on ringsidereporter.com, and we will talk to everybody soon.
Thanks for listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. Check us out on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com, on Twitter at Ringside73, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Ringside73. Subscribe to us on iTunes.